Hi guys, Richard here, welcome back to Geeks Wargaming and welcome to our latest video. And today I want to talk to you about something really exciting. Bolt Action 3rd edition, something that has been recently announced by Warlord Games and will be available at the end of September. I've been holding off a little while to do a video like this because Warlord Games are drip feeding out information and I've been waiting for something just to grab me and just go, now it's time to go sit in front of the computer and the microphone. And I think I got that the other day with the announcement about shooting. So I wanted to go through all of the announcements that they've done so far and their little sneak peeks, and then just have an overall, what would I like to see from Bolt Action 3rd edition, and my general thoughts and feelings. So let's get into it. They first started talking about army composition. Interesting one about how you set up your armies for 3rd edition. 2nd edition's been quite easy. One officer, 2 infantry squads, nice rifle platoon, simples. You need that in 3rd edition because every time that you want to take an additional platoon, you need to match it with a rifle platoon. So 2 armor platoons, you need to take 2 infantry platoons or rifle platoons. Okay, fine. What does that mean for me as a very casual gamer? It means I'm going to have to add more stuff to my armies because, especially thinking around my British Airborne, I think I've got 3 squads of infantry. I've got enough officers, but I'm going to need another squad because I can't do 1 rifle platoon. I don't have enough to do a 2nd. So I can only take 1 additional armor platoon in there. So, okay, fine. That's okay. I just need to build and paint up some more British Airborne and probably some American Rangers and probably some Germans as well, because that was built all for 2nd edition and now this has changed. Okay, that's not a big problem. They haven't announced anything yet about the tournament players out there. That is going to be a separate update which we haven't had yet and we are still waiting for, and when that comes out, well, sit and have a talk about that one. But for the casual player, I don't think it's going to be major. I think it's just, you might just need to add a new squad of troops or 2 to your collection, depending on what you've got. I think for me, the next 2 changes they announced were some of the bigger ones for 3rd edition. So the second thing then we were talking about was MMG changes, your medium machine guns. They're getting an extra shot. So they're going to be getting 6 shots. That's pretty cool. I like that. They did feel a little bit underpowered for me in 2nd edition. One of the things that Warlord Games said in their article was about how nobody took MMG squads. And I was like, oh, I take them. I take them all the time. I really like them. Am I the only one? What the hell? But yeah, so that's something. The rules, exceptional damage and small teams are no longer going to exist. They kind of dropped that into this article. Okay. Interesting. The small teams thing, yeah, okay, fine, fair enough. MMG teams normally have 3 men on their base, so it's like you never really got that until you took casualty. But Warlord Games say it's going to make them more durable when they're behind cover. Yeah, totally agree. Cover is going to be major in 3rd edition. Does not having small teams make them more durable? I don't know about that. I suppose only time will tell, and we'll just have to wait and see. What does it mean for MMGs that are on vehicles? Now, this is an interesting one. So MMGs that are on vehicles, they're going to be halving the amount of shots. Now, this is something that I do agree with. Why? Because when you have an MMG on a vehicle in a game, it did feel a little bit unrealistic. Like, they were just really good. They might have 2 or 3 MMGs on their hull if they're a tank and whatever else, and they should be a spray and pray, like literally spray an area and pray you hit something. They didn't feel like that on a vehicle. They felt just overpowered, I think is probably the best way to describe it. I thought that it needed updating, and that's what they've done, and fair play to them. It seems and hopefully will work a lot better. It's a bit more like, it's unstable, they don't really have a scope on them, and they're bouncing around all over the place while in transit. So it's like, okay, I get it, it makes sense. Does that mean vehicles are going to be worse? No, probably not, because they've got the speed element. You're still doing a spray across a certain area, and if your unit that you're shooting at is in the open, it's still good to hit them. Talking of hitting things and changes to some of the rules, obviously Warlord Games have announced some changes to the shooting phase, and the introduction of cover saves. Now that is probably the biggest thing so far for 3rd edition, and reading the comments on social media, it seems to be mixed. Some of the reactions to some of these announcements has been very, very mixed. Some think it's great, some think it's not so good, and if you are the person who put a comment on saying you might as well call this Flames of Warhammer 1940k, fair play. Kudos to you, because that comment made me chuckle for a good 5 minutes after I read it, and I thought that was genius. Do I agree with it? No, but still very funny. The shooting phase and the introduction of cover saves. Yeah, okay, I kind of get this. This always felt like a bit of a weak spot in 2nd edition. It was meant to be an infantry game, and you could wipe infantry left, right, and centre if you had the right setup in your army. I think that introducing cover saves that are easy to use, which is what they say they have done, should make this game flow a bit easier. And also, as the person receiving the shots and the damage, hopefully it's not a case of, right, I'll remove that entire squad, or okay, I'm going to remove 8 of that squad, or whatever it may be. You guys have got a little bit more chance to live, which in some aspects is real. If you're hunkered down behind a wall, you're going to get a cover save. But they've got 3 levels of cover saves. They're trying to keep this simple. Soft cover, hard cover. So soft cover is a 5-up save, and hard cover is a 4-up save. Now, in the article, there was no description of what makes up soft cover and what makes up hard cover. Now, okay, realistically, you're probably talking things like a wall, a building, a hard cover, bushes, trees, your soft cover. Kind of makes sense. But there's a lot of other things out there that we use in our games as scenery that it'd be interesting to know what it falls under, like battlefield debris. You know, you're hunkered down behind a tipped-up table. Is that soft cover or hard cover? Probably going to be soft. But still, it gives you chance to save your guys, and it actually puts it on the responsibility of the owning player. Rather than the shooter going, okay, I've killed 8 guys, it's now the responsibility of the operating player to go, no, I'm going to save 3 of my guys here because of cover. And I think that should work. There is the 3rd one, which is down. So if your guys are caught in the open, then you still have the ability to take the dice out and put them on down, which will give them a 5-up cover save, like being in soft cover, or a 2-up save modifier, depending on which scenario you're in. I really quite like this idea of cover saves. I think this is something that probably has been needed rather than hit modifiers and all that kind of stuff. Because if you got lucky with a dice roll on your hits and you hit loads of things, they're pretty much dead. So yeah, okay, give us cover saves. I like it. Talking of hitting things, they are upping the base level of to hit to a 4+, and then your modifiers will come in on top of that. So what have we got for modifiers? Again, these seems to have been reduced quite a lot, in my opinion. You know, there was loads of different ones that you could get behind hard cover, soft cover, if your name was Dave, whatever it may be. There's 4. Fire on the move, -1. Firer pinned, -1. Firer inexperienced, -1. And then point blank, +2. All makes sense to me. The one thing that I question is, and we haven't heard anything about pinning yet. Obviously, you kind of -1 the amount of pins that you've got, but this just says fire a pinned -1. Is that it? Or does that modify? And do they stack? Don't know yet. We haven't heard. Point blank's good. You hit them on 2+. Woohoo! There's going to be some dead dudes. Yeah, I like it. They've made it harder to hit to start with, but then sorted out the modifiers. You could be inexperienced, pinned, and running, or on the move, and still get a 7+ to hit. What does 7+ look like in 3rd edition? Is it still a 6 and a 6? Don't know. They haven't said. But overall, I really, really like the changes that we've done. Um, Overall feelings about third edition. What would I like to see? Um, okay, when you're filming a battle report, you really want to try and get the rules right. You want to be able to accurately get things correct. So you always have your rule book on hand. Has it been the simplest thing to go and find a specific rule for a scenario? No, it's actually been quite difficult to do that, in my opinion, within the rule book. Most of the time, you kind of park the rule book and go to Google because somebody else has mentioned that rule. So, what would I like to see for third edition? I would like to see it slightly easier to find rules. The rule book needs to be a bit more easy to navigate, is probably my thing. Really interested to see what the new missions will look like. I think some more of them would be brilliant. Maybe like another certain gaming system where you might have different missions depending on what pointage you play. I think that would work. Army books, I'd like them a bit more honed around army selection, army creation as well. Yes, they've got your army specific rules in there and everything else. Most of that book was a history lesson, which is, for somebody like me who loves the history, it's fine. That's a great read. But most of that book was the history lesson and then onto your army after. I think I'd like it flipped. That's kind of my thoughts about third edition. I am really excited. I'm really excited to see what it feels like to play, and I'm really excited to get my hands on it. Obviously, there is a new starter box as well, Battle of the Bulge. Will I buy that? No. Would I like to paint up the minis? Yes, because I think they look really, really nice. There's a lot of things out there a lot of people out there commenting about certain elements of it being inaccurate for history, jackets or whatever it may be. That element of it doesn't bother me. I'm not a rivet counter. I will quite happily, as long as it's not obvious, then okay, fair enough, I can live with it. But would I love to paint them up? Yeah, I think these new minis look really, really cool. Would I buy them? Probably not, because I don't have a winter scene or a battlefield set up for that. Could be an opportunity to build one, and there's no reason why I couldn't do that. But yeah, I think that the second edition starter set, the Band of Brothers, had a really nice, quick reference guide to it. And to get you started playing as a new player, that was invaluable. You had that, and that was your Bible. We need something like that in the third edition, and we could probably do with something like that expanded for the rule book as well, just to make it easier to find certain things, like I was saying before. So, thanks for listening, guys. Hope you haven't minded me randomly going on about all these announcements and rule changes and putting my opinion to them. Leave us a comment. I'd love to hear what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree with what I say? What's your thoughts and opinions on some of these rule changes? Give us a like. It does massively help out the channel. In the description, there are 3 links to Warlord games, depending on whereabouts in the world that you are. There are affiliate links. If you haven't yet pre-ordered your box set or your rulebook or ordered anything for Bolt Action for a little while, click on the link. It will take you through, and when you make a purchase, you will be helping support the channel, which is massively appreciated, and it does make us look slightly good in Warlord Games' eyes, which is always nice. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I will try to do one of these videos again when we get another couple of sneak peek releases out from Warlord Games, and then something else grabs my interest. I'll jump in front of the computer and the microphone, and I'll do another one of these videos. But as always, we will see you on the next one.